Welcome to sewlyjo. My name is Jo, and today I'm going to show you how I made the Pop to the Shop wallet. Now this is a wallet pattern that it was done by Debbie Coles, and it is available on the Craftsy website. So I will place the link to this pattern in the description, and you can pop over to the Craftsy website to purchase your pattern, and then you can come back here and follow along with the tutorial. This is the wallet we're going to make. This wallet is suitable for carrying your cards, your various cards, cash. You can carry, it can fit a cell phone, and you even have a small pocket to carry your coins. So let's begin. First, you will print out your pattern, and then you will cut out your pieces like I did here. So I've got all my pieces together. Let me show you what I did once I printed my pattern. So these are all my pattern. This is my pattern piece here. It's one large piece, and I paste this on a piece of cardstock to make it a bit firm, and so that it will be easier when I'm trying to cut out my patterns. You can do the same if you like. So this is the pattern. I also cut out a template so that I can cut out my stabilizer using this. And so that's how I got my pieces together. So we have this will be our strap. In order to make your strap, you will fold your pattern piece in half lengthwise like this and press. Then we will fold it again, the edges inwards toward that center line, press, and then you will fold it once more and press. Okay, we have our card slot pocket. I will show you how I made my card slot in a bit. We have our zipper, a D-ring, the D-ring tab, our zipper extension, our metal magnetic closure here, and these are our lining and exterior pieces. After cutting out your fabric pieces, you will adhere your stabilizer to the wrong side using a steam iron. If you don't have a steam iron, you can use your dry iron with a spray bottle with some water, and that will do. We also have 2 pieces of fleece which will be placed in the middle. So let's continue. I will now show you how I folded our card pocket. Okay, so let's make our card pocket. Now the pattern has a diagram showing you how to draw the lines on your fabric in order to fold it to get the card pocket sections like this. So you can either mark your piece of fabric, make sure you have interfaced the back of your pocket, your card slot pocket, and before you begin. So you can either mark the lines to the back of your fabric. The first one is 4 inches, then a 2 1/4 inches, and so on. You can do it like that, or if you're going to make a couple of these, or to make it easier for yourself, you can also make a template. So let me show you what I did. So this is my card pocket template that I made. This piece of, you can either use pattern paper or cardstock, whatever you have. This is part of a calendar that I used. It's about 12 inches wide and maybe a little over 16 inches long. So I drew the lines across this paper. So the first line, you measure from the top of your paper down 4 inches, and you mark WST, which means wrong side together. That is how you will fold it. After that, you have another line. You measure down from this line to the next one at 2 1/4 inches, and this will be right sides together. Then you continue 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, and the last line will be 1 1/4. Now the pattern will have the diagram showing you how to do that. So then you will fold your paper. So the first line says wrong sides together. So this is the front of, if this was my fabric, this would be the front of it, and this would be the back, or the wrong side. So the first line says fold wrong sides together. So this is wrong sides together. The next one says right sides together. No, yes. Next one says right sides together, so this will go in because this will be right sides together. Then wrong side, right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side. And then you will have your slot pocket template. Okay, so you'll now take your fabric piece that you're using to make your slot pocket, and this is how you will place it. So you take the top of your piece and you place it here. So this first fold will be 4 inches, and then you will slip it in and fold and so on. Continue until you reach to the bottom. So once you fold it in the slots, you will press it to make the folds or the sections, and there you will have your slot pocket. I think this is a very good and easy way to do it. So you pull this out, you make sure and press your pieces, make sure that they're straight, and then you will have your folded card slot pocket. You will take this now to your sewing machine and you will sew 1/8 in from the fold all the way across of each section, making sure not to sew them together. So you will separate them like this, and you sew here, then you move that out of the way, you do the next one, and so on until you've completed all of them. After that, you will find the middle of your piece and draw a line, and you will sew down that line to make 2 sections. Okay, so I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew my pattern piece up. Now I've completed sewing the top edges of my pocket piece. Now you will fold your piece in half to find the center, or you can measure it, and draw a line from top to bottom along the center. You will sew over that line to create a separation, so you have 2 sections of card pockets. So I'm going to take this out to the sewing machine and sew down that line. Now I will suggest that you turn your piece in this direction so that you will be coming down the sections instead of going up. It will be easier to sew from that direction, from the bottom up instead of from the top up, top down. So line up your sewing machine foot with the line, the center line, and sew along, making sure to back stitch at the beginning and the end. Take your time, you don't have to rush to sew. Try to slow down your machine as best as you can. So I've completed our slot pocket. Well, not quite. We need to trim up the bottom and sew along the edges and the bottom. So you can trim your threads and we'll move on from here. This is your completed slot pocket piece. So we've sewn across the folded edges and we've sewn down the section, creating 2 halves of the slot pocket. Okay, we're going to trim this now at the bottom at 3 1/4 inches tall. So we're measuring 3 1/4 inches down from the top, and we're going to trim the bottom, making sure not to cut into the folds. Let me show you. See, the pocket is folded here. We don't want to cut here, otherwise you're going to have an open pocket. So avoid cutting through this fold here at the bottom. So you can mark it and cut. Once we've completed cutting across the bottom, and this is now 3 1/4 inches tall, we will take our work to the sewing machine, and we're going to use a zigzag stitch across the bottom to secure it. So let's take our ruler, and if you have a grid ruler, that would be great. It will be easier to find your mark. So this is my 3-inch line, so we want 3 1/4. So let's line it up at 3 1/4 inches, and we'll draw a line across the bottom and cut. My 3 1/4 inch point is a little above my fold, so I don't want to cut into the fold, so I'm just going to use the fold line as the guide to make sure that I don't cut into it. So I think my fold line is there, and we will draw a line across to identify that. And we'll cut straight across the bottom and use a zigzag stitch to close. You can also use your rotary cutter if you have one. Let me show you what that is if you don't know. If you're not familiar with this, is a rotary cutter. And you would take your ruler and line it up with that line, and you would have cut straight across. But I use my scissors instead. So if you don't have one of these, use your scissors. But this is a wonderful tool. It makes cutting so much easier. So this is our completed slot pocket piece here. So this is the zigzag stitching that I did at the bottom, and now this is ready now to be placed on your, so grab your lining piece of the main part of your bag, and we're going to turn this over to, we're going to find the center of this. You can either fold it in half and mark the center, or you can measure it and find the center. So I folded it in half. You can draw a center line or just mark it, a little mark to the edge so that you can see a mark here and here. And then you will take your ruler and measure a 1/2 inch down from that center point. So this is your center line here. You find the 1/2 inch mark and mark it there. You do the same for the other side. Find your center and you mark 1/2 inch away from it, and you will do this on both sides of the center line. Mark like this. Just make sure you line it up well, and it's in the center like this. So the top of your card pocket is facing inwards at the center, and the end is outward. The bottom will be outward because the pocket will be folding like this at some point, but not right now. So you place your pocket at the 1/2 inch mark that is below the center point. So this is the center. You have an 1/2 inch mark here, and you line it up with the 1/2 inch mark on both sides. You will take this to your sewing machine and you will baste stitch along the edges here. Now a basting stitch is a long stitch because this is just to hold it in place until you're ready to do your final stitching. So you'll make sure you're doing it, you're stitching close to the edge. You don't want to go in too far in. So go to your sewing machine and use the longest stitch length that you have. Mine has, the longest stitch length is 4. So I'm going to use the 4 mm stitch length and go along the 2 sides to hold that in place. Let's now move on to make our zipper pocket. So we have 2 lining and 2 exterior pieces. The exterior pieces are stabilized with your interfacing. Now this is your zipper. This is about 4 inches long, and these are your zipper ends. Now mark a 1/4 inch in from the short edges, and this will be your stitch line. So you place one, line it up with a short edge, and you will stitch across this line to secure, and you repeat on the other side, making sure to move your zipper pull out of the way if it is, and you will do the same on the other side. Our zipper is now ready, and so we're going to go ahead and sew up our zipper pocket. So place one exterior piece right side up on your work surface, then you will place your zipper, the teeth facing down with the zipper pull on the left as usual, and you align it up. First of all, let's find the center of this piece. Fold in half to find the center. So that's the center, and you do the same to find the center of your zip. So you're placing your zip down, lining up with the center of your piece like this here. You can clip or pin in place. You're going to take a lining piece while this, and you place it right sides down on top of the zipper and the exterior, lining up the edges. Clip, and you will take this to your sewing machine using a zipper foot. You will sew this in place, sewing along the top edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, making sure not to sew for the zipper teeth. I've completed stitching the zipper, so you're going to separate the fabric pieces away from the zipper. Pull the zipper up and use your finger to finger press. You can also use your iron if you prefer. And then you will take this back to the sewing machine and sew across here. You will top stitch. You can use a longer stitch length if you like. I think I will use a 3 mm stitch length because that looks better. Then we will repeat this with the other 2 exterior lining pieces on the other side and top stitch again. Your pocket is now ready to be placed on your lining. So this is the zigzag stitch we did on the bottom. The sides are still open, don't worry about that. Take the lining piece that already has your card slot pocket, and on the other side we will place our pocket. So there's another, from the center line we made a 1/2 inch mark below the center line on both ends, and this is where we will place our pocket and baste in place. So you can pin or clip, and you will take this to your sewing machine and use a long stitch length. We will sew along the two sides here. Then we'll come back.